And Mr. George Groves is here.
Yeah.
George,
Tam, your
congratulations.
Is his hat-trick. It's 3 appearances on the sofa. Not training for a fight presently, so plenty of eating and drinking over Christmas.
Plenty,
Yeah.
Seems like all I get told off about these days is too much eating and drinking, but it's nice. It's nice to have got December off camp as such, you know, just still ticking over, but not preparing for a fight.
Yes.
So it's nice.
I read on your blog, you said that you can integrate into society over the festive period because you're not training for it. Does that just...
I thought it was a maths thing then. I was getting...
Well,
okay, ready?
Integrated into society, does that just mean you can go out?
I can drink tea with milk in. Like
That's
integrated.
That is wild.
He asked me earlier, what do you want? I thought, it's usually peppermint tea, but do you know what? I'll have a normal breakfast tea.
Go on, George, see how many you can do throughout the show. Go on, go on.
Go on.
Darren Purse can do a whole donut in one go. Just saying.
Oh, I'm not even going to attempt it.
That actually, and that was the show that Carl Froch was on, and he refused, didn't he?
So we need to get that video. We need to get George eating a donut during the show. We'll do that in a sec. Danny, if you want one.
I played my game last night, so I can eat now.
Knock yourself out.
I'll take the whole bowl out.
Here is what's on the show today.
George, Chelsea lost their first game of the season to Newcastle last week. Did you think you were going to go the entire season unbeaten?
People were saying it, and I thought, well, why not? You know, they were unstoppable, weren't they? Bit of a dip in form. I don't think it's going to last too long. I think they've got such a strong squad, so many good players. To play, you know, having the likes of Schürrle, who isn't even really playing. I don't know why. I'm a big Schürrle fan. He came on, he was playing midweek, scored a goal.
Yes, Champions League draws on Monday. You can't draw any of the other English teams or Schalke. Anybody you fancy, that's who you can get. Any of those particular teams, or are you of the ilk of bring them all on?
No.
Not altogether.
Yeah.
I think, you know, trying to avoid any German teams. Basel probably be my pick. Yeah, those for Chelsea to get.
OK.
We'll sort that out for you.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's on Monday. OK. Thank you very much, guests.
I think so. George, shall we see you knocking people out?
OK.
Yeah, let's do it. You won that. That's good. Some good hitting people there. Well done, George. Let's review your last 2 wins. Christopher Rebrasse, you beat on points in September. Were you happy with that win? Yeah, it was all right. First fight back after getting knocked out, so let's see how we go. It was a good win. The guy was good. Didn't know too much about him. I don't think anyone knew too much about him, so element of risk involved. It was a big fight because European title fight, and it was a final eliminator for WBC, so winning that, become mandatory challenger for the world title. Set the guy out, perform. Did. Won pretty much every round. It was a good night. When it goes to a points decision, do you just always know? You know, when they're standing there, or do you think? Oh. You got a feeling. You're like, well, I've won that, or I haven't won that. Usually it's always I've won that. If it's a bit tight, or you're on someone else's show, which I usually am, you think, oh, am I going to get stitched up here? Does the ref ever just go like this? With the arms going, ooh. No. I don't know. I've never noticed it, but if I was a ref, that's exactly what I would do. Good. Should introduce that. You stopped Dennis Douglin on the Value Cleverly undercard.
last month, but you only gave yourself 5 out of 10 for your performance. What happened there?
Yeah,
then?
I mean, I sat down at the end of the fight straight away, and Robson said, "How would you score that?" So I thought, well, I must not have done very well. I said, "All right, 5." It was something that me and the trainer Paddy had a quick conversation with, literally at the end. Going back and watching it, I've done a lot better than 5, but it's had a bit of one of them fights where you just start a little bit slow. To be honest, we didn't warm up properly. We thought we was ring walking at 9 o'clock, didn't ring walk till like maybe 10:30, so I ended up falling asleep in the changing room, and then all of a sudden, right, it's time to go. So I was like, in you get. Took a couple rounds to get going, southpaw, which is always a bit difficult to adjust to. Once got going.
Did somebody wake you up? Like...
Yeah, well, like, I've got this, I like to get to the change a bit anal, really. I like to get to the change room about an hour and a half before we start get going, before I'm ready to ring walk. So I'll sit down, I'll chill, I'll put my boots on nice and slowly, put my music on. You've got to do loads of paperwork now in boxing and glove up, rest of it. And then with about half hour to go, 20 minutes to go, I actually start to warm up and go. So I was actually, right, come and stick the gloves on, let's go. And he said, oh, by the way, you've got 4 more fights before you're ready to go, because all the fights before had gone the distance, which is probably not that great. So I said, all right, well, wake me up when it's time to go. And then, yeah, they come in and said, 5 minutes. I said, all right, well, I'm not going to be ready in 5 minutes. They said, well, if you're not ready in 5 minutes, you don't box, because they're closing the hall. I think they had to wait to get me in and then get the main event in before end of days. So.
Isn't that really weird, though, that you can actually calm down enough to just snooze off? Because I'd have thought your nervous energy on fight night would just keep you absolutely alarmed.
No, not really nervous.
do you do the paperwork before you put the gloves on?
Yeah. Well, that's what takes its time, Joe. It's usually the urine test as well is probably better to do with the gloves off as well.
Look, I absolutely love your trainer, your corner man, Paddy Fitzpatrick. He's so laid back, and I love it. We can hear what he says as well when he's in the corner. And he said, one of his quotes was, "You've trained 3 hours a day in the gym. Do not let your mind tell you that you think you are tired." But you're just sitting in a corner with having things squirting in your mouth.
Trying to work out what you'd said at that point was making me tired, I think.
Right. This is was the question. How much of that do you take in? When you've just taken a couple of biffs to the head and stuff, are you really listening to him? I know it's his job to keep you focused and motivated, but are you sitting there going, "God, my cheek hurts a bit"? And
no, I mean, the funny thing is you've got tens of thousands of people screaming at you like when you're in the ring, but the only voices you can pick out are the ones you hear in the gym, because while you're fighting, or you know, they're the voices you hear in the gym, so that's what you're used to. Everything else is just like a bit of a noise. So yeah, I certainly want to sit down at the end of the round and absorb the information he's going to give me, because that's the only real point I can sit down and take a rest and enjoy it. But we've had a few fights together now, so we know each other a lot more. We're learning a lot more about each other as you know, each fight goes on, and it's all up to me to go out and actually perform. So
he's very calm, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's really.
I think
calm.
everyone, I pick people who are calm to work with. Paddy likes me because I think I'm pretty level-headed at times. when it matters, not yeah, we got good chemistry. We work well, and we're not the sort of, he'd never sit down and slap me across the face, throw water in my face, tell me I'm rubbish, and get out there and you're blowing it, kid. I don't think we're that sort of team. It's not
what you want to hear when you're sat there.
No. People might.
You're the mandatory challenger for Anthony Dirrell's WBC belt. You sparred with him before. Is he any good?
Yeah. I'd like to say he's useless, but he's not. He's all right. His brother, people know a little bit more about. Andre, he was over fighting a few years ago, but this is Anthony, yeah, in the green. Unbeaten, WBC champion. He's fighting Sakio Bika. He beat him in August. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. You know, he was a nice guy to me when we were sparring 3.5 years ago. We weren't boxing. Since then, he don't like me so much, but I'm used to that. No one likes me, so it's all good fun.
Oh, for once, a press conference that won't kick off then.
I can't promise nothing.
I should put your faces just not quite so close. Honestly,
not a bad idea.
No,
I think
just stand a bit apart. It'll be fine.
I think yeah, he's a good guy. We'll see him. We'll say we go to Vegas tomorrow at WBC convention. We're hoping to meet up with him and his people and try and thrash out a deal and see if we can get this fight signed off for the new year.
Okay, now, you know there are 2 questions that I have to ask you. James DeGale, part 2 on the telly. I know you've met twice before, but we'll call it part 2. When?
You know, I'm not going to give up my mandatory challenge for WBC. So it's funny how, like, you know, his team, Eddie Hearn, his promoter, and that, talking about us fighting in the beginning of next year, where he's sort of missing the point that I'm, you know, mandatory for WBC. So for me, I've got to go and win that belt. Once I win that belt, I'll happily fight James Guy in day of the week. That's fine, but wouldn't want to come to the table without a belt. So that'll most likely happen next year, but I've got business to do first.
Okay. And you know the next question is Froch Groves 3.
Yeah. Let's have it, eh? Well, I'm ready whenever.
Well, he said this at the Bellew Cleverly fight, which obviously you would have known. He was asked about it.
I was thinking about it. I thought to myself, you know what? Let the Gale and Groves fight each other, and maybe I'll fight the winner. Just maybe. I'm not promising anything.
So he kind of hinted.
He kind of said maybe.
Yeah, and then said maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Carl's a fascinating chap. He seems to turn up to all my fights these days. I mean, I wonder if he's buying tickets or he's just sneaking in the back door, because he ain't missed one yet. He has an obligation to fight James DeGale at the moment, which he's not interested in. Talking about
who would win that?
Fights. I don't know. I don't really care. I think.
George, there is one question that I have to ask you. Big night for British boxing. Amir Khan is taking on Devon Alexander in Vegas in the early hours. How are Amir's shorts costing £25,000?
I don't know, but I'd like to have got that gig. Danny, did you know anything about
Danny
it?
Danny is incensed that he's not involved in this.
I've got to get in the boxing game.
You can make a call and, yeah. I read a little bit about it because I find that fascinating. So I looked at them and thought they would be solid gold, but they're not. They're
that would be restricting, wouldn't
yeah,
it?
well...
Just Diamante.
Yeah. They're not, though. They just look like every other shorts he's had. Mate, should have given me a call. I could have got them for you. So much cheaper than that. But it's something that was a headline. So
yep, it's brought a bit of publicity to it. It's what it's all about, isn't it? All right.
2 a.m. Sky Sports won that fight. George Groves, everybody.
Thank you, George.
Cheers, George. Thanks, mate. The black.
Now, George, I've got you. Get your hands out your pockets, George. Come on. Stop taking. All right, George. Any hole you like. Yeah. That counts. Rachel. Where's Rachel? Before we do, though, let's thank our guests. But also, George, let's have a look at your goal.
Hey.
Great hit,
Wallop, straight down the middle. Okay.
Now we didn't watch mine again.
You weren't looking at Champions League, put it down the middle, did you? Right, thanks to our guest, Danny Shittu. Thank you, Rachel Riley.